Hello, I'm Monique, and I work at Winterberry Gardens in the tree and shrub yard. Today I will be teaching you guys, explaining the process on how to plant your tree so it is successful in the long run. The way I'm going to show you how to plant your tree, you can also do that for shrubs, annuals, perennials of all kinds, trees of all kinds, whether it's in a container or balled in burlap. So to start, we have a hydrangea tree that we will be planting. We have our soil amendments, some biotone fertilizer, which we recommend, and mulch to go around. When planting a tree or a shrub, you want to make sure you plant in the right requirements. You want to make sure your sun is right, you have enough water to the location, the wind doesn't affect it as much. It can, but you don't want it to, and even snow accommodations. You don't want snow to kill something because it gets too heavy or too much snow gets on it. Once you have your tree and your plant picked out, you want to start by digging a hole that is twice as wide as your pot and just as deep as the root ball. We have a hole dug, and I put the plant in it so we can see how big you should dig it. It's twice as wide, and it's just far enough in, your root ball will be planted perfectly in. So to start, we dug our hole, we kept the backfill. We did add in Winterberry's Premium Planting Mix, which we highly recommend. It has a peat moss compost mix, mycorrhizae fungi, which help with root growth in your tree. And we also will add in our biotone fertilizer, which we also highly recommend. Depending on what you're planting, depends on how much fertilizer you actually have to use. Read the bag, instructions are on it. Since we have a 7-gallon pot, we're going to put about 2 cups of this in with our backfill, and we're going to mix that in. Mix that in. Now since I have that ready, I'm going to plant the tree. First, you want to take your tree out of the container. Once your tree is out, you want to loosen up the root ball and loose roots. You want to put it into the hole. Once you add your soil around, you want to make sure that your tree is straight. You want to bury it just right. You don't want to cover the top of the root ball. You want to bury it right around that. So as you can see, I went right on top of that root ball. You don't want to cover it, you don't want to get too close to the trunk of the tree, or else your tree won't do well. Once that is done, you can mulch. Before you mulch, you might want to make a reservoir around the tree with your backfill. It helps measure the water when you water it. You don't want it too wet, you don't want it too dry. You want to make sure you water it well. Everybody asks, how do I water my tree? You have to water it well. A good way to test is by sticking your finger into the soil up to at least your knuckle. And if it's wet, you should be good. If it's dry, you need to water. A good way to do this is by building that reservoir. By building that reservoir and that lip, when you water, you want to fill that up. Go water some more plants in your yard, come back, fill it up again. If it's saturated and the water's gone by the second time, you're good. If the water's still sitting there, let it drip into the ground. Your plant will be watered. Now onto mulching. You want to make sure you mulch at least 2 to 3 inches deep. Mulch is very good to help keep moisture control in your soil. And you don't want to get around this trunk either. As you can see, I didn't mulch too close around that trunk. It's still open enough where it won't be damaged by the mulch or soil. And now that is how you plant a tree. Please come down to Winterberry Gardens for all your planting needs. We'll be glad to help you.